Hey guys, today we're going to do some seed starting. We're going to focus on tomatoes that I'm going to seed start in the greenhouse, and then I'm going to go out to the garden and do some direct sowing for some snow peas. So I'm a little late on getting my tomatoes started. I'm a few days after I did last year on getting them started, but we had bad weather last week and snowstorms and power outages, so we just got to roll with it. So I'm going to show you some of the different things that I use to start my tomato seeds and my peppers. These are little Jiffy Pete pellets that I love to start my tomatoes and my peppers in. That's something that you need to start from seed because they take too long. You're not going to, a lot of places your growing seasons are going to be too short to actually get some good harvest. So you need to go ahead and either buy your plants already grown at your seed store, the co-op or whatever. But these are the little Jiffy Pete pellets that I seed start my tomatoes and my peppers. And you put some water on them and rehydrate them, and they puff up nicely into little self-contained seed starters. So these are actually some peppers that I started 2 weeks ago, about 15 days ago. These are some peppers that I already started. I actually have a heat mat inside. Peppers have to have a warm temperature to germinate. So I did not use a heat mat last year. I just had some lights over them, and I think it really made a difference. You don't have to have a heat mat, but I think it really made a difference in the germination, how quickly my peppers came up this year. So I love this little thing. My husband gave it to me. It's a nice little easy way to spot water things when you got little bitty seeds, so you don't wash them away. So, but anyway, here's some pepper seeds. Today we're going to plant some tomato seeds. Some of my favorite, we did a lot of heirlooms last year. 10 or 12 varieties. We did a lot. Some of my favorites are the cherry tomatoes, the Rosella. Those are wonderful, and they're very prolific. They make a lot of tomatoes. Another one of my favorite cherry tomatoes are Sunrise Bumblebee. If I could only have one tomato the rest of my life, it would be the Sunrise Bumblebee. I just love them. They're fun color. They're kind of sweet. You can get your kids to eat them when they would not eat tomatoes because they just have a sweet taste to them. Mine did. So those are my favorite. I also love blue boreberries. They're a cherry tomato, but they have a purplish tint to them too, where the sun hits them. My favorite slicer tomato is a Thorborn Terracotta. I don't have the original package for that. I think I got that from my twin sister. So we do a lot of seed sharing, which is great. It helps spread some of the cost out. So, and these are actually some that I seed saved from last year, the blue boreberry. So heirlooms you can seed save from, and you'll get a true tomato off of those seeds. And last year's the first year I've done that. It's really easy. I've got a video of seed saving an earlier YouTube video, so check those out. It's very easy to do. So some of my other favorite tomatoes are Paul Robeson. I love those. Those are a good slicer. But I think if I could only have one tomato for the rest of my life, it would be this. I don't know. It'd be a hard toss up between the Rosella tomato and the Sunrise Bumblebee. I even use these on my tomato sandwiches, y'all. I just cut them up and lay them on my tomato sandwich. They are fabulous. So if you get an opportunity, yeah, check out some Rosella or some Sunrise Bumblebee. They're my favorite. We tried the Aunt Ruby's last year, and mine didn't do great. I gave some plants to some people, shared some plants with people, and they love the Aunt Ruby's. We tried a Dr. Witchy, and it's a neat flavor. The Aunt Ruby's got a good flavor too. But they just didn't give me very many tomatoes. I didn't have much to harvest off of them. So if I'm gonna put some time and energy into something, I want to get some tomatoes off of that plant. So, but there are a lot of different varieties out there. Oh, some fun ones that we did last year, little miniature tomatoes, micro toms, and orange hat. Those tomatoes only get about 18 inches tall, 12 inches tall, 18 inches tall. And those are really good. Those are some that you could grow on your balcony, or even if you didn't have a yard, you could grow those in a little pot. So one thing that I really love about growing the cherry tomatoes is they're easy for me to put up in the freezer. So I grew up with slicer tomatoes, and Mom and Dad, we'd make a day of it canning, which is fine, but it's pretty labor intensive, and I just, right at this stage of my life, I just don't have a lot of time to spend canning tomatoes right now. So the good thing about the cherry tomatoes, the way I do them, is I just wash them and throw them in a gallon Ziploc bag and pop them in the freezer. So when I need some tomatoes to make some spaghetti sauce or chili, I just pull the frozen tomatoes out, the frozen cherry tomatoes, pop them in a blender, put a little bit of hot water in there, and I'm good to go. I, mix it in with whatever I'm cooking. So it works great for me. And you don't have to peel them. You don't have to take the green cores out of them like you have to do for slicer tomatoes. So I just love that about the cherry tomatoes. So I've got a few of these little Jiffy Peat Pot things. They work well to put in your windowsill. Most window ledges are about that thick, and you can put them, I've got a big south window, and these fit perfectly well on my south window. But you don't have to have those things. Like, I've been saving some egg cartons, so I'm going to use those. That's what I have right now. And if you wait to get started so you have everything that you need, everything that somebody else has, sometimes you'll never do it. So just use what you have. So, and the good thing about these, some seeds don't need light to germinate. I don't think tomatoes need light to germinate. Don't hold me to that. I'll have to do some research. I want to say they don't need light to germinate. So if you've short for space, when you're first germinating, you can stack these on top of each other, and they'll germinate even without light. And of course, when they germinate, you want to open them up and put them to where you can get some sun. The cool thing about using this technique right now is I only have one grow mat, and Lowe's didn't have any when I stopped by this week to get one. So I'm going to actually put these in my chicken egg incubator. I'm going to stack these in my incubator. We lost our eggs last week with the power outage, so we're kind of between hatchings and putting eggs in the incubator. So I'm going to put these in my chicken incubator. Actually, we're using it for quail, but I'm going to put it in my incubator. So anyway, I'm going to show you how easy it is to do this. So I've got, let me use these are already hydrated. I've got these little Jiffy Peat pellets already hydrated. I usually stick a couple of seeds in each pot. There's dirt or peat moss open right there with netting around it. So I usually stick a couple of seeds in each one. A lot of times they'll both germinate, but I don't want to wait for stuff not to germinate. If you're short on seeds, then yeah, just put 2 seeds in there. Just put 1 seed in each pellet pot. But I seed saved last year, so I've got a lot of seeds. So I'm anxious to see how they do coming up from the seeds that I saved, but because seeds can be expensive. Last year when I bought all my heirloom seeds, that can be really expensive. So I just think it's so much fun to be able to seed save. See, if you see, I just dropped a couple little seeds in there in my little Jiffy Peat pellet, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of dirt over there. I'm just gonna squish a little dirt over that. So that is a Thorburn terracotta. That is a wonderful slicer. Oh my goodness, it's probably one of my favorite slicers. So I'm gonna probably plant about half a dozen of those. Last year I had a lot of variety, and I kind of figured out which ones I like the most and which ones, I could probably do without. So I'm not gonna plant the ones I can live without this year. So that's real easy. And also a thing I love about the egg cartons is you can just write on there what they are. This is a Thorburn. I always write the date of when I plant them. It's just easier for me to keep up with things. So I know that row right there is my Thorburn terracotta, and I planted it today. So this should start. The tomatoes sprout a lot quicker than the peppers, so I should see some germination going on. I don't know, 7 to 10 days. I don't know. I can't remember. But the peppers, these right here, have been planted for 15 days, so they're doing well. So I'm gonna do this with my peat pots, but you don't have to have the peat pots. You don't have to have the Jiffy Peat pots. You can just plant it in potting soil. You just poke your little holes in your egg carton, in the bottom of the egg carton. I cut the top off from the bottom. You'll need to lay it like that. And I'm just gonna put some seed starting mix. I'm just gonna put some seedling mix in here, just to see how it does. You can get seed mix everywhere. Walmart, Lowe's, Co-op, Tractor Supply. So I'm just going to dump some little bit of seed mix in here. and do the exact same thing with it to see if I can see how well they come up. And once again, it's about using what you have. It can be a little overwhelming, especially if you're a first year gardener, or if you've not grown up gardening. And sometimes when I'm overwhelmed, I just don't do what I want to do. I just kind of shut down and put it off till tomorrow, because either I don't have everything I want to use, you know, but then if you don't plant it, it's never going to grow. So I'm just going to try this and see how it works. Everybody's got egg cartons on hand. So I'm just going to put a little bit of potting soil in here, seedling mix in here, and going to use it to plant some tomatoes in there too. So these are fun. I planted some, I want some flowers. I want some cut flowers early on. So these are little hollyhocks. I planted these 15 days ago too. So I didn't have any little seed labels. My sister gave me some seed labels now. Thank you, Brenda. I'm gonna love these things. So these are little plastic seed labels that I could have put in here, and you can mark on them with a Sharpie and then take some alcohol and wash them off. So I didn't have those when I planted these though, so I used them a little clothespin because that's what I had. So anyway, like I said, you don't have to have the Jiffy Peat pots. You don't have to have these nice little trays that they go in. You can just have some seedling mix and some egg cartons, and they should grow your seeds fine. So okay, so I have my incubator for my quail eggs. I'm going to use that for a germination chamber until it's time to put the next batch of quail in there. Hard to say the temperature, but it's 77. So we'll see. This is the first time I've used my incubator as a germination chamber. I'm losing daylight coming in here so late after work and trying to get my snow peas planted, but I'm going to get my snow peas planted in this one little raised bed. We've got 3 little raised beds this size, 4 by 8, and then the rest of our garden is in ground. We'll probably add some more raised beds later on. One of the benefits of the raised beds is it drains. Sorry, I've been digging in the dirt. So you're going to be able to get in there and work it quicker in the spring when you're not going to be able to work the rest of the garden. It also warms up quicker, so you can get your seeds planted quicker and they'll come on up. It's a lot easier to prep it. This bed was covered with pine straw and leaves over the winter, but it took me all of 3 or 4 minutes just to clean that off of the bed. I raked a rake over the top just to kind of loosen a little bit at the top, but I'm not going to mess with the bottom. It's got some great things going on down deep in that dirt that I don't want to disturb and I don't want to mess with. So no-till is the way to go if you can do that. We just started doing that last year. So, but anyway, I'm going to get some of my favorite ones that I grew last year are the Oregon Sugar Pod 2s. I grew some of those last year, so I'll plant those as long as they go. And then I think I'll do a Sugar Snap pea too. So you can plant snow peas pretty closely together. So let me go ahead and get some of those in the ground. So look at this cool little tool my sister gave me for Christmas. I don't know what you call it. She tells me and I forget every time, but I love it because it tells me how deep to plant things. It's got 1 inch, 2 inch. So I can just put me a little hole, go down to where I think it should be, drop my little seed and move along. So I love this little thing. It's fun to use. So anyway, we got some rain moving in, so let me get these snow peas planted. I'm also going to plant some onions today. I planted a couple of rows of onions a week or so ago, and I'm hoping that they haven't stayed too wet and rotted in the ground, but I'm going to go ahead and plant some more. I almost made the mistake of planting my snow peas in here with my onions, staggering the rows, but they're not good to plant together, so it's good to look at companion planting and charts to where you don't want to plant things together, because snow peas and onions don't go well together. Onions and carrots go well together. Onions and most things go well together, but snow peas and onions do not go well together. So, losing daylight, I'm gonna get some onions in the ground. Onions take a long time to grow from seed. You can buy onion seeds. I have not grown any from seed yet. I'm just planting these little bulbs, so I may try to grow some from seeds. They just take so long, and these little bags of bulbs are not that expensive. They were only $1.45 at our local co-op, so you stick the little root thing down in there and cover it up. So I'm losing daylight, guys, so I'm gonna turn this off and get these onions in the ground because it's gonna be raining for days. So I hope that each of y'all are inspired to grow a little bit this year. That way you don't have to depend on the grocery store for all your food. And it's not too hard. Y'all just jump in there and try to grow some stuff this year. There's all kinds of good YouTube channels out there. Just do your research. I love Roots and Refuge. She's who got me inspired last year to try all the different heirloom tomatoes. So, but there's all kinds of YouTube channels out there to show you how to get started. So don't let it intimidate you. Don't scare you. Just get in there and get it going. So sun's going down, so we've got it tarped to kill the weeds, kill the grass, and to try to keep it drier so we can get in there and get it ready. That's part of our in-ground garden. So don't let it intimidate you. Get on out there and try. You gotta start somewhere. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be the same way everybody else does it. Look and see how a lot of people do it, and then do it your own way. So that's the best way to do. Experiment. It won't grow if you don't plant it. So give it a go. Y'all have a good one. Go grow you something to eat. See ya.